Anthony Joshua knocks out Jake Paul in the 6th round, and yeah, on paper it looks clean and decisive. But let's be honest, this is one of those fights where you walk away still asking questions. People are wondering, how real was this fight? And was this just business? Or was Joshua actually trying to get him out of there as fast as possible? Before the fight even started, that was the big talking point already. Is this fight real or is it fixed? And after seeing how it played out, that debate didn't die down at all. It just got louder. Now everyone's asking two things. How much does Anthony Joshua really have left at heavyweight, and how good is Jake Paul actually? On paper, this matchup looked crazy. A former unified heavyweight champion with real belts and real knockouts against a YouTuber turned boxer whose resume is mostly older MMA guys and journeymen. For a lot of people, the idea that Jake Paul would last past the 1st round sounded ridiculous. So
what? Oh, what are you talking about?
watching him survive into the 6th had people in disbelief. Jake Paul has fought names like an older Mike Tyson and an older Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but this Anthony Joshua fight was a massive step up in class, no question. That's why everyone keeps asking, was this rigged, and did AJ carry him? The fact that the fight lasted as long as it did only added more fuel to that conversation. Let's break down what actually happened in that ring, because once you really look at the tactics, things start to make more sense. The game plan, Jake on his bike, AJ stalking but not finishing. Opening bell, Jake Paul used every inch of that big 22 by 22 ring. That's larger than your usual boxing ring, and that is not some random detail. It's a tactical choice. Jake stayed near the ropes, kept distance, and used constant movement to keep Joshua from getting comfortable. His whole plan was obvious. Don't let AJ set his feet. Don't let him get clean shots off. Make the fight awkward and messy. On the other side, Joshua was the stalker. High guard, slow pressure, flicking the jab, giving different defensive looks, but rarely fully committing to long combinations early. He looked cautious, almost like he didn't completely trust what might be coming back his way. He didn't rush in wild. He tried to control rather than destroy. And then, every time AJ finally got close, Jake would clinch instantly. Not just normal clinching either. He'd grab, lean, slide down Joshua's body, drop toward the canvas, and force a reset. That kind of stuff kills momentum. The ref didn't really crack down on it, and it made the fight frustrating to watch. Those drops in the clinch are a classic survival move. When you're tired or scared of being manhandled on the inside, you drag the bigger man down, break the rhythm, and sneak yourself a breather. It's basically saying, I don't want to be here. I can't compete in this space. And then you go right back to running. Why 8 rounds and why he almost made it? This is where the 8-round limit makes sense. That number didn't appear by magic.
Magic.
Jake Paul's team clearly wanted that in the contract. Surviving 8 is way more realistic for him than trying to live through 10 or 12 against a big heavyweight. And honestly, if this fight had been only 6 rounds, Jake Paul might have just about survived. Even he said afterward, if I just had a little bit more cardio, I probably could have made it to the end.
Yeah, I was doing good. I just think my cardio, just the mental pressure of the big guy and sparring the big people is different than the 10-ounce gloves.
That tells you everything about his mindset. His goal was to last, not to dominate. But by rounds 5 and 6, the price for all that constant movement started to show. His gas tank was leaking, the legs slowed down, the reactions weren't as sharp, and that's when Joshua started landing the real power shots. Jake got dropped, got hurt, and eventually AJ closed the show with that heavy right hand we're used to seeing from him. To Jake's credit, his chin held up better than a lot of people expected. There were a few moments where he dipped straight into big right hands from Joshua. Those were solid, clean shots. He was hurt, yes, but he never went completely unconscious. For a guy who isn't a natural heavyweight, taking that kind of power and staying aware says a lot about his toughness. Was AJ carrying him, or just cautious and rusty? Now to the big question, did Anthony Joshua carry Jake Paul on purpose? Did he let the fight drag out longer than it needed to? Right after the fight, AJ mentioned the 15-month layoff.
But he came up against a real fighter tonight that's had a 15-month layoff. We shook off the cobwebs.
And admitted he took his time. At 36 years old, coming off a rough loss to Daniel Dubois, that makes sense mentally. There's pressure, there's doubt, and there are scars from previous defeats. He knew that if he somehow lost to Jake Paul, it would be seen as beyond embarrassing. So what we saw was a version of AJ that looked cautious, not reckless. He didn't fully step on the gas early, didn't cut the ring off like he used to, and didn't take the kind of risks we might have seen from a younger, more confident version of him. He's clearly slowed down, and the ring rust was visible. He also didn't show much bravery in the pocket early on. When Jake stepped forward suddenly, Joshua often backed up 2 or 3 steps instead of taking a half step, catching shots and firing back. He gave up chances to make Jake miss and pay. That's where his performance was worrying. On the ropes, the pattern was predictable. AJ throws a right hand, Jake dips under, clinches. AJ never really adjusted, no feint to draw the dip, no step back into an uppercut, no trap set. For someone with his experience, that lack of creativity and ring IQ didn't look great. But being cautious, rusty, and a bit predictable is not the same thing as carrying a guy on purpose. The survival style. We've seen this movie before. This kind of fight is not new in boxing. We've seen survive first, forget winning game plans plenty of times. One clear comparison is Malik Scott versus Luis Ortiz. Ortiz held center ring. Scott spent the night skirting around the ropes, refusing to stand still, dropping to the canvas, or grabbing whenever things got too hot. It turned into an extremely boring fight where Scott's main goal was just to make it to the end. Another similar example is when Canelo Alvarez fought Skull. Canelo chased, Skull moved nonstop, barely threw much back, and the fight ended up looking like a 12-round game of tag instead of a real war. Canelo got the win because he was actually trying to fight. The other guy was just trying to survive. That's the energy we saw with Joshua versus Paul at times. Jake wasn't really in there to win rounds. He was in there to not get steamrolled. And when someone is running, circling, grabbing, dropping, and doing everything except standing still, it becomes incredibly hard to knock them out clean. If Jake was part of some fixed script, he wouldn't need to burn his lungs out sprinting around the ring. He wouldn't need all those desperate survival tactics. He looked exhausted by the end. That kind of tired is not staged. That's what happens when a fighter is working overtime just to stay away from danger. So for me, this did not look like a fixed fight. It looked like a cautious, slightly faded Joshua chasing a moving target who was doing everything possible not to get caught. What did we learn about AJ? Joshua didn't show anything we didn't already know about him, but he did raise a couple more concerns. We already knew he's powerful, but at this point in his career, the question is whether he can consistently create the openings to use that power. At around 245 pounds, he's had big knockouts before Pulov Povetkin, so I don't think his weight alone killed his power here. The bigger issue is that he just didn't land enough clean, full-blooded shots earlier in the fight. Instead of bullying Jake, cutting the ring off and roughing him up, AJ spent too much time trying to box with him. That played into Jake's game. Against someone with way less experience, he should have been nastier closing the exits, trapping him, making the ring feel small. You can always argue AJ could have taken more risks, but based on his layoff, his age, and the pressure on his name, his cautious approach sadly makes sense. To me, this fight showed a Joshua who still has tools, still has that finishing power, but isn't the same ruthless, confident version from his prime. What did we learn about Jake Paul? For Jake Paul, weirdly, this is almost the ideal outcome for his brand. He got stopped, yes, but he also went multiple rounds with Anthony Joshua after people said he wouldn't last one. That lets him walk away saying, "Look how tough I am. Look how long I survived."
Hey guys, day 2 in the hospital. Jaw's busted from the fight. You could probably see it. I hope I gave you what you wanted out there. Enjoy it. I'm healing up and I'll be back soon.
He showed he has some real defensive awareness. He can slip certain shots, back out of range, clinch at the right time, and survive under pressure. His chin is better than people thought, and he's clearly put in work in the gym. But here's the problem. He still hasn't shown that he can win rounds at a high level. Surviving is different from actually taking over a fight. He hasn't proved he can beat a solid cruiserweight, light heavyweight, and definitely not a top heavyweight. In a way, he drifted into that journeyman energy in this fight, going in there not really looking to win, but to last, to show he belongs, and to walk away with some credibility. That makes it really hard to judge his true ceiling. We still don't actually know how good he is because he hasn't truly gone in there with a mindset to dominate a top-level opponent. What's next for AJ? After the fight, Anthony Joshua called out Tyson Fury again. He said, "I want Tyson Fury. If this guy's serious, get him in the ring with me."
And I can't wait to roll into 2026. And if Tyson Fury is as serious as he thinks he is, and he wants to put down his Twitter fingers and put on some gloves and come and fight one of the realest fighters out there that will take on any challenge, step in the ring with me next if you're a real bad boy. Don't do all that talking, AJ this, AJ that. Let's see you in the ring and talk with your fists.
Fans have wanted that fight for years, a real rivalry matchup, a proper event. But if we compare the Joshua we saw tonight with the Fury we last saw in there with Usyk, it's hard not to feel like Fury still has more in the tank. Right now, there looks to be only one favorite in that matchup. Apparently, AJ is planning another fight early next year, and that could tell us a lot. If he comes back sharper, more aggressive, and with better ring cutting, then maybe he can rebuild some fear around his name. I'm willing to give him some leniency because 15 months out of the ring is a long time. But I can't pretend I was blown away by his performance, even with the knockout. What's next for Jake Paul? For Jake Paul, the next move probably comes down to business more than anything. Does he stay in the real boxing lane and keep fighting actual pros, or does he slide back toward the influencer side where the risks are lower and the drama is higher? The Tommy Fury rematch feels like the obvious money fight. There's history there, there's a storyline, there's pride on the line, and people would definitely tune in. If he's focused on money and redemption, that's a very logical route. He keeps saying he's going to become a world champion one day. Maybe if he gets matched with someone not at the highest level, he can grab a belt somewhere. But right now, after all of this, the honest truth is simple. I still don't know how good he really is. Because once again, he went in there to survive, not to take over. Final word. So to sum it up, this fight didn't look fixed to me. It looked like a cautious, slightly faded Anthony Joshua dealing with a constantly moving, survival-focused Jake Paul. Jake showed toughness and some skill. AJ showed power but also hesitation and decline, and both of them raised new questions. If you watched all the way through, do me a solid, drop a like, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who saw the fight. Jump in the comments and tell me, was this fight real or fixed, and who should AJ and Jake Paul fight next?